رسالت یا رسول اللہ، نعرہ رسالت یا رسول اللہ، نعرہ حیدری یا علی، نعرہ حیدری یا علی۔ عجیب کیف ہے عشق علی کی مستی ہے، عجیب کیف ہے عشق علی کی مستی ہے، میرے ضمیر کی بستی اسی سے بستی ہے۔ یہ میری ضد نہیں، یہ میری ضد نہیں، وحدت کا حکم ہے محسن، علی نہیں تو عبادت بھی بت پرستی ہے۔ نعرہ حیدری حیدری۔ اور اگر علی کی ولایت کا تجھے اعتراف نہیں، اگر علی کی ولایت کا تجھے اعتراف نہیں، خطائیں تیری حضور خدا معاف نہیں۔ تن پہ جامع احرام، تن پہ جامع احرام، دل میں بغض علی، تن پہ جامع احرام، دل میں بغض علی، یہ تیرے نصیب کا چکر ہے، طواف نہیں۔ نعرہ حیدری یا حیدری یا حیدری۔ دشمنان اہل بیت پہ بلند تر لعنت، لعنت۔ اسیران کربلا و شہیدان کربلا بلند تر صلوات۔ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔
سورة الفاتحة۔ أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، شفيع المذنبين وحبيب قلوب الصادقين، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد،
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد،
وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين الهداة المهديين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي، أما بعد. We have discussed over the previous few nights some of the Islamic teachings with regard to how to achieve balance and moderation within our life. Tonight being the eve of Ashura, inshallah we will tie together some of those aspects of our discussion, and we will present our condolences and our expression of our sentiments to Ahlul Bayt, to the family and the progeny of our beloved Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Before we continue tonight, I would like to request all of you to please move forward and make room in the back for those who may be joining us. I would also like to request all of us to make a special dua, a sihat, a prayer for the shifa and for the recovery from illness for Brother Hasan Abbas, who is ill, and for all other mu'mineen and mu'minat who have asked us or requested us to remember them in our prayers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them good health and fulfill their prayers and their hajat. For the fulfillment of those du'as, please recite one more loud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
One of the issues which is essential for us to remember in our practice of our religion is that it is through the examples of our religious leaders and our role models that we are able to properly understand how the different teachings and the different pieces of our understanding of our obligations fit together. If a person were to read Quran without having a comprehensive role model to use as a basis for appreciating the meaning of and the place of each verse, then that recitation of the Quran by itself may not be able to be a source of guidance. And the Quran itself explains that it is not a guidance or a source of guidance for all of humanity. It is a source of guidance for people who have taqwa, who have certain personal attributes, and it will only be able to fulfill its intended goal if a person remembers that one of the major parts of the Quranic teaching conveyed by the Prophet throughout his life was the need to have a relationship of love and devotion and obedience to the progeny and the household of the Prophet. Islam cannot be separated from the Quran. And just as the Quran cannot be separated from Islam, Ahlul Bayt also cannot be separated from Islam. That is the meaning of Hadith al-Thaqalain. The meaning of the hadith in which the Prophet says that the Quran and Ahlul Bayt are together, and they will never separate from each other in this world or in the hereafter. On the Day of Judgment also the Prophet says that they will come together before me on the reservoir of Kawthar. They will remain together in this life and in the hereafter. So the two cannot be separated. And if they cannot be separated, then that means that the aspect of guidance which we have in the Quran, that is also going to be present or must be present in Ahlul Bayt. So for people who say that, well, Ahlul Bayt is an ambiguous term. For people who say that Ahlul Bayt is an ambiguous term. I use the word Ahlul Bayt in Arabic or in English or its translation in another language, and it can include relatives, cousins, spouses, nephews, nieces, extended family. All of them are Ahlul Bayt. Maybe we don't use that in this culture because we have nuclear families. But even today in societies where there are extended families, where family ties and tribal ties are given importance, then there is a wider meaning for Ahlul Bayt. Now, one way to determine who is among Ahlul Bayt is to look at the explanation given by the Prophet himself. There is an explanation given by the Prophet, and that is an academic discussion, an examination of a hadith. If there is a hadith that says that all of the descendants of Hashim are Ahlul Bayt, then in what context are all of them intended to be Ahlul Bayt? Is it just a rule about zakat and sadaqah and khums? Or is it also in terms of guidance? If there are ahadith that say, or that claim, that the wives of the Prophet are members of Ahlul Bayt, then there is a discussion as to whether those ahadith can be relied on. And even if they can be relied on, what do they mean? This is one approach, and scholars have discussed it from this approach. Which are the authentic ahadith that explain who are Ahlul Bayt? But there is another approach which is equally effective and in many cases may be easier for us to understand, but it is equally valid. And this is to say that the Quran has a defined role for our guidance. When the Prophet says that Ahlul Bayt is to be with the Quran and inseparable from the Quran, and therefore they are both to have that role of guidance, then we can see who had that ability to be like the Quran as an unerring and as a pure and as a comprehensive source of guidance for the Muslim Ummah. In this case, we don't even need to go and to engage in a long discussion, because many of the people about whom it has been claimed that they are members of the Ahlul Bayt, they themselves would never say that we are members of Ahlul Bayt. For those who led the battle of Jamal against Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, the very best that you can say for them, best case scenario, and this is not historically proven, but if we give every benefit of the doubt, the very best case scenario is that they spent the rest of their life seeking forgiveness for all of the innocent bloodshed that they caused by leading an army against Amir al-Mu'mineen. That is not necessarily historically proven, but that is the best case scenario. That I disobeyed the explicit verse of the Quran, I disobeyed the commandment of the Imam of my time, I led an army, I caused companions and innocent Muslims to be killed. The best case scenario, and the only reason why Muslims can say that this person is within the Ummah of Islam, is to say that there must have been a tawbah, there must have been a repentance. Now, that is an optimistic, a charitable, and a very forgiving view. Would that person ever be able to make a claim, or can anybody make a claim for those people that this is with the Quran, together and inseparable, and a source of guidance for humanity? You don't need to then enter into that academic discussion, although you can. And if you enter into the academic discussion, you will still get the right answer. But this tells us that when we see the role, the function, the reason for which the Prophet put so much emphasis on his progeny, the reason why he said, أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي أُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي, I remind you of your duty to God with respect to my progeny. If it had a goal, if it had a reason, if it had a wisdom, then that wisdom in and of itself will tell you who fits within that and who is outside of that. None of the wives of the Prophet made a claim, and none of them could have a claim made on their behalf that they were able to be comparable to the Quran. None of the relatives of the Prophet, the family, whom some Muslims say they were also Ahlul Bayt, they were also the relatives of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Abbas has a great respect, yes. He was the cousin of our Prophet, he was the cousin of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was a faqih, he was a mufassir, he was a scholar. But Abdullah ibn Abbas never claimed to be always with the Quran, to be unerring, to be a source of guidance in his word and in his deed. Nor was such a claim made about him. In fact, if you look at many of the fatawa and the opinions that are expressed by Abdullah ibn Abbas, then whether it comes to inheritance, whether it comes to marriage, then the majority of Muslims reject those teachings of Ibn Abbas which came from Ahlul Bayt, and which nobody can deny were part of his teachings. And so then if you reject some of the rulings and the teachings of Abdullah ibn Abbas, then how are you going to come to a follower of the Imams and say that, well, no, Ahlul Bayt is a general term that includes Abdullah ibn Abbas? Would you say that I can reject this verse of the Quran? It was wrong. It was mistaken. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not fully aware of what He was revealing. If you cannot do that with the Quran, then if you are going to put somebody in Ahlul Bayt, and if you are going to say then they too are Ahlul Bayt, and don't limit it to the 5, or don't limit it to the 12, then don't reject anything which those people will say. But if you don't do that, then admit that they cannot be part of Ahlul Bayt in this meaning. And we can go one step further and be even more charitable. We can say use Ahlul Bayt. If you want to say the wives of the Prophet are Ahlul Bayt, go ahead and say so. There's nothing wrong with that. They were in any case living in the Bayt of the Prophet. Their house was the property and was given to them by the Messenger of Allah. So that Bayt, that house, you can say that. Say that about the rest of them as well. But then you need to distinguish between Ahlul Baytin Nabi and Ahlul Baytin Nubuwah. There are those who are the family of the Prophet as an individual. They are relatives of the Prophet. But then that which is the equal of the Quran is not Ahlul Baytin Nabi. It is Ahlul Baytin Nubuwah. The family of prophecy, the household of prophecy, that which is preserving and maintaining the legacy of Nubuwah, because that is what the Quran is doing. The relationship of the Quran to the Prophet is not a personal relationship. It's not a diary of the Prophet's words and thoughts and speeches. It's not an anthology of the Prophet's words, but it is connected to the Prophet through prophethood, through nubuwah. So we can be charitable and we can say that all of those people whom you wish to say are family of the Prophet, then you are welcome to do so. Say that they are welcome to be part of to enter into the household of the Prophet. But then remember that they will be Ahlul Baytin Nabi. They will not be Ahlul Baytin Nubuwah. And it is essential for us to appreciate and to affirm this point. Because there are some Muslims who will say about the event of Karbala that it was a tragedy. It was a grave tragedy. Maybe even they will say that it was a unique tragedy in history. But they will say that it is a historical tragedy. It was a tragedy in history, not a tragedy with respect to Islam itself. In other words, it doesn't have a theological dimension. It's not a tragedy for Islam as a religion, as a belief system, but it is a tragedy in history. It's a sad event that took place. And there were many sad events that took place. Many companions and many believers and many pious people who died, who were martyred, who suffered, even those who suffered for the sake of Islam. And so they bring the tragedy of Karbala down to this dimension of a sad event in the history of Islam, not a sad event that touches our understanding of Islam itself. But if we understand Hadith al-Thaqalain, if we understand that the Prophet brought Ahlul Bayt as a insurance that our interpretation of the Quran will not go astray, then there cannot be any event connected to the decisions of Ahlul Bayt which does not touch Islam as a religion and as a theology. You cannot separate the two unless you reject that equality which the Prophet brought, unless you reject one and in fact both of those thaqalain which the Prophet gave us. But if we accept them, then we cannot say that, well, a decision made by a member of Ahlul Bayt is just a historical decision. And about Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, no Sunni, Shi'i or anybody who has any connection to Islam will deny that definitely he is a member of Ahlul Bayt. There is no dispute, there is no question, there is no possibility of not authenticating the ahadith which mention that the Prophet brought his grandchildren and his daughter and his cousin Amir al-Mu'mineen under the Kisa, and he said that these are my Ahlul Bayt. That is not something that any Muslim who rejects the ahadith and the sayings of the Prophet can reject. So if Imam Hussein is definitely among Ahlul Bayt, by that first method of the ahadith of the Prophet, by that second method of the role models who are representatives of Islam, then anything that is a decision of Imam Hussein cannot be a purely historical decision, where we analyze this as we analyze a battle between the Abbasids and the Romans and how many Muslims may have lost their lives and been martyred and been taken as captives by an enemy army. That is a historical issue, and it can be a tragedy, it can be a triumph, but it is a historical issue. Whether that Muslim army won the battle or lost the battle, whether they had terrible losses or very few losses, that's not going to affect our religion or our theology. But you cannot say that about a member of Ahlul Bayt. And then what is interesting is that even those Muslims who say that Karbala was a historical event will admit that in Sahih Ahadith, the Prophet foretold the event. The Prophet mourned the event. The Prophet mentioned where it would take place. Karbala at that time was not part of the Muslim dominion or the Muslim land. It was a foreign land under Persian domination. But the Prophet mentioned that this event would take place. He mourned over it. He told others to mourn for it. He mentioned where it would take place. And he brought some of the dust of that place and gave it to his wife Salama. These are Sahih Ahadith accepted by those who say that Karbala was just a historical event. Nothing to do with Islam as a religion. Just something that you can read about in history as you read about so many other events. So then what kind of a theology or what kind of an Islam is it where the Prophet and Jibreel give so much importance to an event that has no relevance to the religion? And what kind of a religion is it that mourns such an event but doesn't tell us what we are supposed to do with respect to that tragedy? Do we brush it aside and say, well, maybe the Prophet just wanted to tell a random event about something that was going to happen in the future, and Jibreel chose to tell him about Karbala? The Prophet said, this is one event. What is the relevance then of the Prophet's prophecy? And not just the Prophet's prophecy, in another Sahih Hadith, Amir al-Mu'mineen on the way to Siffin stopped in Karbala and mourned for Karbala. And these ahadith are accepted by those who say that Karbala is not a special place. The dust of Karbala is not a special dust. The martyrdom of Imam Hussein is not a special martyrdom in terms of your religion and in terms of your belief, but it is just an event that happened in history. Now, because it is not our purpose to discuss this right now in a comprehensive sense, I want to make just one point about why the Prophet did all of these things. He did all of these things because he wanted us to remember that our religion, our religiosity, our ability to follow our religion depends on maintaining a familiarity, a love, a relationship with Ahlul Bayt, and that relationship is reciprocated. The Imams have said that whenever there is one of our lovers or one of our followers who is sad, we feel that sadness in our own heart and in our own soul. Nobody needs to come and tell Imam Ja'far Sadiq that one of your followers in Kufa, or one of your followers in Qum, or one of your followers in some other part of the world has had tragedy strike them, is in need of your prayers, in need of your support. The Imams say that we have that connection with our followers, that if they are sad and happy because of us, then we are happy when a good moment comes in their life. And we are saddened when something sad happens in their life. That relationship and that closeness, it is not just our expression to the Imams, but it is also their connection to us. The Prophet is not a figure from Islamic history, but he is present in our lives. When a good thought enters into our heart or into our mind, when we do something good, we owe the credit to the Prophet and thanks to the Prophet, not just because he taught somebody something 1400 years ago and somebody passed it on, but because that guidance comes to us even now through the Prophet. And it comes to us even now through each of our Imams until the Imam of our time. The ghaybat of the Imam is not an obstacle, just as the ghaybat of the Prophet and the Imams before our present Imam is not an obstacle. They are present, they are alive, they answer our salam. They are happy when we do good and when we are happy, and they are saddened when we are aggrieved. The relationship is a mutual relationship. And we should remember that when we come to those times which are of particular importance for Ahlul Bayt. Those times when either it was a period of celebration or a period of sadness and mourning. Because the Imams remembered their followers, especially at those times. Amir al-Mu'mineen remembered his Shia on his deathbed. Imam Ja'far Sadiq remembered his Shia on his deathbed. And without doubt, Imam Hussein alayhi salam remembered his Shia time and time again, from the eve of Ashura until the afternoon of Ashura. This was a night unlike any other night for Ahlul Bayt. Imagine that Imam Zain al-Abidin is between unconsciousness and wakefulness, sick with a fever, suffering. And yet, as he himself narrates after the events of Karbala, I would try to listen whenever I was awake and whenever I was alert, because these were only the few moments that I would be able to have with my father, Imam Hussein. He says that I heard the Imam call all of his companions and family members together in one tent. And first he turned off the candle. He extinguished the candle. And he offered them to leave in the cover of night. He said that no prophet, no Imam had followers as noble, as sincere, as committed, as brave, as generous as I have. You have passed your test, and go in the cover of darkness. And if you are embarrassed, then take the hand of one of the descendants of the Prophet, one of those young children, and take them with you, so that you will not feel embarrassed that you abandoned Hussein, but that you will feel pride that you saved the lives of the descendants of the Prophet. To that extent, the Imam is offering them with his generosity salvation in the hereafter, and even to save their souls in this life. And the first person to respond was Abu Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salatu wassalam. And that immediate response, that sincerity, that dedication is perhaps one reason why on the day of Ashura, whenever the Imam would speak to Abbas, he wouldn't say, Ya Abbas. He would say, Ya Akhi, binafsi ant. My brother Abbas, may I be your ransom. May my soul be a ransom for you. Can you go and do this? Can you go and see what the enemy wants? Can you take care of this affair for me? Imam calls his companions together, and he tells each and every one of them what is going to happen on the next day. Maybe the Imam was preparing them in some way for martyrdom. Maybe the Imam wanted them to know what honor Allah had bestowed on their companions and their fellows in that battle. Maybe the Imam wanted to have a chance to mourn for his companions in peace. Because on the day of Ashura, the Imam would mourn for each martyr, but he would be mourning under the arrows and the stones and the attacks of the enemy soldiers. And so perhaps the Imam was telling them about their martyrdom so that he could mourn them, and that he could shed tears, and he could weep for them without being under attack. And then after this gathering, companions, they dispersed. Somebody was reciting Quran, somebody was doing istighfar, somebody was praying. Everybody had something that they needed to do, such a short time, and so many goals, so many things which they wanted to accomplish. And when they would take time off from their ibadat, they would prepare their weapons for the battle. And sometime during that night, Abbas alayhi salam called 18 young men from the family of the Prophet, descendants of the Prophet, and he took them to one tent where there were some helmets, armor, shields, and swords, and he fitted each of those soldiers, Ali Akbar, and Qasim, and Aun, and Muhammad. And I don't know how it was that Abbas alayhi salam was able to do all of that without losing consciousness. Because so many of those soldiers were too young and too small to be able to have any armor. And so as he was preparing them for battle, Hazrat Abbas must have been thinking that this soldier is going to go and face the enemy without a helmet. This soldier is going to go and face the enemy without any armor to protect him and to shield him. But those preparations were made. The Imam went and he visited each and every one of those children. He gave some wasiyah and some preparation to each of the women folk, made sure that everybody would be able to come on the day of Ashura and fulfill that role for which Allah had given them life and kept them alive until that time. और जब आशूरा के दिन आया, जंग शुरू हुई, तो एक एक शहीद ने आके इमाम से इज़्ने जिहाद लिया, लेकिन किसी को भी इमाम ने आसानी से इजाज़त नहीं दी, सबको रोका। हुर आते हैं तो इमाम फरमाते हैं कि हुर तुम तो मेरे मेहमान हो। मुस्लिम इब्न औसजा आते हैं तो इमाम कहते हैं कि मैं अपने नाना के सहाबा को किस तरह मौत के लिए भेजूं। حبیب ابن مظاہر آتے ہیں تو امام کہتے ہیں کہ بچپن کے ساتھی کو میں کس طرح سے الوداع کہوں. اہل بیت آتے ہیں، قاسم بڑھتے ہیں، تو امام فرماتے ہیں کہ تم تو میرے بھائی کی نشانی ہو. حضرت عباس بار بار آتے ہیں اور امام روکتے ہیں، اور محمد کو روکتے ہیں. ایک ہی شہید ہے کہ جو امام کی خدمت میں آتے ہیں اور عرض کرتے ہیں بابا اجازت، اور امام رکتے نہیں ہیں، روکتے نہیں ہیں، روتے ہیں اور فرماتے ہیں تقدم ولدی، جائیے بیٹا جائیے. جناب زینب آگے بڑھ کے لپٹ جاتی ہے اپنے بھتیجے سے، روکتی ہے، کہتی ہے کہ بھتیجے اکبر میں کیسے جانے دوں. اکبر اپنی پھوپھی سے وداع کرتے ہیں. امام اپنے بیٹے کو جنگ کے لیے تیار کرتے ہیں. نانا رسول اللہ کا عمامہ سر پہ باندھتے ہیں، عبا اڑاتے ہیں، اور جب گھوڑے پہ سوار کر کے جنگ کے لیے روانہ کرتے ہیں تو اکبر بس کچھ قدم آگے بڑھے تھے، محسوس کرتے ہیں پیچھے سے کوئی چل گیا. آواز آتی ہے مہلن مہلن بنیا، بیٹے ذرا آہستہ چلیے. پیچھے مڑ کے دیکھتے ہیں امام پیچھے پیچھے آ رہے ہیں. اچانک گھوڑے کی نجام کو کھینچتے ہیں، گھوڑے سے اترتے ہیں نیچے، کہتے ہیں بابا آپ نے تم رخصت کر دیا تھا. امام کہتے ہیں کہ اکبر اے کاش تمہارا کوئی تم جیسا بیٹا ہوتا تو تمہیں معلوم ہوتا کہ میرے دل میں کیا گزر رہی ہے. امام نے پھر اکبر کو سینے سے لگایا، جنگ کے لیے تیار کیا. اور جب اس دفعہ اکبر جنگ کے لیے روانہ ہوتے ہیں تو امام نے آسمان کی طرف دیکھ کر کہا کہ خدایا قد برز علیہم غلام اشبہ الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسول اللہ. خدایا اب اس قوم کے سامنے ایک ایسا جوان جا رہا ہے جو صورت میں اور سیرت میں اور اپنی گفتار کے اعتبار سے پیغمبر خدا سے سب سے زیادہ شباہت رکھتا تھا. وَكُنَّا إِذَا اشْتَقْنَا إِلَىٰ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ نَظَرْنَا إِلَيْهِ، اور جب ہمیں پیغمبر کی طرف اشتیاق ہوتا تھا تو ہم انہی کی طرف دیکھتے تھے. یہ کہہ کے امام نے اپنے بیٹے کو روانہ جنگ کیا کہ بیٹا دیکھتے رہیے، جنگ کرتے کرتے اپنے بابا کو نہ بھولیے گا، میری طرف دیکھتے رہیے. اکبر جنگ کے لیے آگے بڑھتے ہیں اور امام فخر سے دیکھ رہے ہیں اپنے بیٹے کو، لیکن دل میں ایک دعا آتی ہے بار الہ ایک بار پھر اکبر کی زیارت کراتا. اور دیکھتے ہیں کہ اکبر واپس آ رہے ہیں خیمے کی طرف. جملہ فرماتے ہیں اب یہ جنگ کر کے تھک چکے ہیں، جس طرح سے امام پیاسے ہیں اکبر بھی پیاسا ہے. کہتے ہیں کہ بابا ان العطش قد قتلنی وان ثقل الحدید قد اجهدنی. بابا پیاس نے مجھے مار ڈالا، اگر ایک گھونٹ پانی کا مل جائے تو پھر میں ایک اشقیاء کو دکھاتا ہوں کہ میں کس کا پوتا ہوں. امام نے کہا اکبر اپنی زبان کو میرے دہن میں ڈال کے دیکھ کہ تمہارا بابا کتنا پیاسا ہے. اکبر نے زبان امام کے دہن میں ڈالا، دیکھا کہ امام کی زبان اس سے بھی زیادہ خشک ہے. پیچھے ہٹے، امام نے اپنی ایک انگوٹھی اکبر کو دی اور کہا اس کو منہ میں رکھنا، اور اب بیٹا جب جنگ کے لیے جانا تو یاد رکھنا کہ اب تمہارے دادا تمہیں سیراب کریں گے حوض کوثر سے. اب اکبر امام کا اشارہ سمجھ گئے، یہ آخری وداع ہے جو امام کر رہے ہیں. اکبر دوبارہ رنگ کی طرف بڑھتے ہیں اور مقتل کا جملہ ہے کہ امام نے مایوسی کی نگاہ سے اکبر کی طرف دیکھا، فنظر الیہ نظرۃ عائس منہ. اب اکبر جب اس دفعہ دشمنوں کے سامنے جاتے ہیں تو کسی نے سامنے سے حملہ نہیں کیا. جتنے حملے ہوتے ہیں پیچھے سے حملے ہوتے ہیں. ایک شقی کے ہاتھ میں نیزہ تھا, وہ اکبر کی طرف بڑھا اور پیچھے سے نیزے کا وار کیا. وہ نیزہ پیچھے سے اکبر کی پشت میں پیوست ہوا اور برچی سامنے سے نکلی. اکبر گھوڑے سے اب گرنے لگتے ہیں تو جھکتے ہیں گھوڑے کے اوپر, اور مقتل کے جملے ہیں کہ جب اکبر خم ہوئے تو اب دشمن آگے بڑھے اور ایک ایک شقی نے حملہ کرنا شروع کیا. اکبر نے اپنے بابا کو آخری سلام کہا, اور ایک عجیب سلام ہے کہ اکبر کہتے ہیں کہ السلام علیکہ یا ابتا ھذا جدی رسول اللہ یقرئک السلام قد سکانی بکأسہ الاوفا ویقول لک یا حسین عجل القدوم الینا. اے بابا اکبر کا آخری سلام, یہ میرے نانا رسول اللہ ہے, حوض کوثر کا پانی میرے سامنے لا چکے ہیں اور آپ کو کہتے ہیں کہ اے حسین ہم شدت سے آپ کے انتظار میں ہیں, جلد آئیے, جنت کی محفل آپ کے انتظار میں ہے. اکبر زمین پہ گرتے ہیں تو امام آواز دیتے ہیں کہ اکبر پکارتے رہیے, میری آنکھوں کی روشنی. اکبر آواز دیتے رہیے تاکہ میں آپ کی جگہ تو جان سکوں. اور امام یا علی کہہ کے اکبر کی طرف بڑھتے ہیں. نہ معلوم کربلا کے علی کو بلا رہے ہیں یا نجف کے علی کو بلا رہے ہیں. امام اکبر کے پاس پہنچتے ہیں, اپنے بیٹے کے سر کو اپنی گود میں لیتے ہیں, اور پھر مقتل کا جملہ ہے کہ فَوَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى خَدِّهِ, امام نے اپنے رخسار کو اکبر کے خونین رخسار پہ رکھا. فَبَكَى بُكَاءً شَدِيدًا, اور ایسی شدت سے روئے کہ جس طرح نہ اس سے پہلے کبھی روئے نہ اس کے بعد کبھی روئے. اور پھر یہ واحد لاشا ہے کہ جو امام سے نہ اٹھ سکا. امام نے جوانان بنی ہاشم کو بلایا, کہا تعالوا احملوا اخاکم, اپنے بھائی اکبر کا جنازہ اٹھا کے خیموں تک پہنچا دو. انا للہ و انا الیہ وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب.
Ya Hüseyin, ya Hüseyin, ya Hüseyin, ya Hüseyin, ya Hüseyin.